Hey, how's it going? Welcome. This is Chris, and today we are going to look at using custom components inside of Contentful. So, Contentful is what's known as a headless CMS. It manages all of your data, so text and images and JSON and all that kind of good stuff, so that people that maybe aren't super technical or don't know a ton about code, or just people that are looking to manage data in a more structured way can handle that through Contentful. And then with Gatsby, we're going to take that data and display it. And something that's really cool with Contentful and with Gatsby is that you can use components in what's called MDX files. These markdown with superpowers sort of files. So let's go ahead and dig in. I'm just in my tutorials folder here. I'm going to do Gatsby new, and then I'm going to do Contentful components. You can call it whatever you want, and that'll give us our just default Gatsby starter. So while that's spinning up, if you have not yet, so I'm on Contentful's website here. I've already signed up for an account, and you'll see a dashboard that's something like this. So if I go to my space home here, I'm in this Teams space. And so I'm going to go to Content Model, and this is where we're going to be doing our work. So while that's spinning up, you can kind of get yourself set up on Contentful here. So now that the Gatsby project has spun itself up, we'll change into that. So cd Contentful components, and then code dot to open it. And now I've got our folder here. So let's see. We're gonna need a few dependencies. So let's go ahead and add those in. We are going to yarn add or npm install .nv. We will need Gatsby source Contentful and Gatsby plugin MDX. Okay, cool. So we can add those dependencies, and we'll do a little configuration in our Gatsby config here in just a second, so we can pop that open. And we are going to I'll just go here and open up a new set of curly braces followed by a comma, and I'll do resolve, and then Gatsby source Contentful, and give it some options. So for this, you'll need a space ID, which we'll access through process.env at Gatsby Contentful space ID, and then you'll need an access token with process.env.Gatsby Contentful access token. At the top, we're going to require in .env so we can access those environment variables. So we'll do require .env .config, and we'll give it a path of .env. We can save that. My package.json, looks like there was some changes. Let's make sure. I'm just going to close this and then open it back up and see. All right, cool. I've got my dependencies added. Okay, so that one is good. And then we need to add Gatsby plugin MDX. So you can give this one options if you want to. We're not going to for this one, so we'll just add it, and we'll do Gatsby plugin MDX and save it. And that should be good to go for now for our Gatsby config. So you want to make sure that you have a git ignore. If you just did your Gatsby new with the default starter, then you should have one already. If not, just in your root directory, create a .git ignore file, and just double check to make sure that your env files are not getting committed. Then in the root directory, you'll create a .env file. So we go back to our Gatsby config. We're going to need our space ID, and we're going to need our access. This should be underscore token. And we'll set an equal sign afterward. Save Gatsby config. And we'll go over to Contentful here. I'm going to add a content type. I'm going to call it blog and hit create. And we're going to add some fields here. So a blog, this is like the data structure for any blog entry. So any blog entry that you have will include these fields. So we are going to do the first one as text. And we can do short, and we'll just do this as the slug. So the path to this file. We'll do another text, and we'll do long text. And this is the one that we'll be able to use our MDX or our markdown with. And we can call this one post. And then let's go ahead and do we might not use this, but we'll do like a lead image. And so like this would be like if you want to have like a blog post page with all of your different posts, then maybe you could give it a lead image, so you can make like a little image with the preview text underneath. And then when you actually click on it and are rerouted to the page, then you have your slug, which is telling you where to go, and your post, which is the actual content. Cool. So we need to grab our space ID and access token. So if you go to settings and API keys, I can hit save changes there. That'll save our content. This one was from an earlier project, so let's go ahead and hit add API key. You might have like a default one that it starts you off with. And I'll call this one blog. So you have your space ID here, which you can copy and paste, and then your access token. So you have delivery, which is going to be like your live out for the world to see access token. So this would be production, and then your preview API, which would be for development. We're going to just do the delivery API and paste that in. Okay, and then let's go ahead, we can save this, and we can actually spin up a post here. So let's go to content, and we'll add a blog. So I am going to just use, I've got a project here that I worked on where I have some markdown, and then let's see, I have some markdown, and you can kind of see an example of what this will look like. So at the top, you're going to have 3 dashes to indicate the front matter, and this is some data that we'll be using. So we'll give it a title. Say never say never. We'll give it a slug of never say never, and then we'll give it a date of April 2nd, 2020. And so now we can just kind of put some content in here. So let's give it an H1 of never say never. And this is all just the markdown syntax. If I click on markdown cheat sheet, like if I want to create an H1 tag, I just give it a single hash mark, and you can see kind of the rest. It goes into a ton of detail. And so then I can just put in my content. So I'm just going to copy this block of text that I've got just to give us an idea of what this is looking like. Our slug, remember, is never. Say never. And then if we want to insert some media in here, so I can add new media. So I'll go here, I'll grab a file from my downloads. Cool, there's a picture. And then I want to make sure that I publish the actual image itself, and it's published. And so notice this is still in draft mode. So I've got my image that it took care of all the formatting and everything for me. And now I can click on publish. All right, so we've kind of done our setup on the Contentful side. So now let's go ahead and run Gatsby develop. And we should be able to see our data, assuming we got everything set up correctly. And it looks like we may not have. Let's see. Okay, it looks like we need to add another plugin here. So we'll do @MDX JS/MDX. I'll just paste that in. All right, let's try and run Gatsby develop again. All right, MDX React. Looks like we need one more. So I'll add that one as well. And hopefully that was the last package that I need. So let's run Gatsby develop again. All right, so that was a good sign. So as it's building out here, you can see content types fetched 1. So this is telling me that we're getting some data from Contentful, which is a good sign. All right, cool. So it looks like we're in business now. So let's go to our GraphQL. And I like to come here just because it's easier to shape our queries for our Gatsby node file. So we're going to go ahead and generate this blog post with a template. And so we'll use our Gatsby node for that. So we've got all Contentful blog. We can do nodes. And then the slug is what we're going to need for Gatsby node. So we can get rid of this. And I can do exports.create pages equals async GraphQL. And we'll grab actions off of create page. And then we'll say const results equals await GraphQL parentheses and then backticks. And we'll just grab this over here. Copy it and paste it in between. All right. And then we'll just do, so we got the query there. And then if results.error, looks like I might be in the wrong spot. Let's take a look at the syntax here. Page, looks like I was missing a, there we go. So if results.errors, then we'll console log the results.errors just for now, and then we'll return. And then let's see, After that, we'll grab our results object from up above. We do results.data.allContentful.blog.nodes.for each. And then for each node, we will use that create page that we grabbed in our create pages function up here. We'll give it a path. We haven't made this yet, but we'll do /blogs/ $node.slug. And then we'll give it a path to a component, which will require .resolve ./source/templates. We haven't made this yet either, but we will. And we'll do blog post.js. And then we need to pass some context, which will be that slug, so that our post knows, like, has an idea of what the data is that's coming in. So we'll pass it a slug that is equal to node.slug. And looks like let's see what it did here. All right, cool. It looks like that should be good to go there. Good, I'm not getting any errors yet. So let's go ahead and make these actual components here. So let's do inside source, let's make a new folder called templates. And then inside there, let's make a new file called blog post.js. And then I've got this extension, this ES67 extension. So I typed in RACFE and it made me this component, which is helpful. And so in here, what we're going to do is we'll grab that data and like format it how we see fit. So this is where you can style up this content that you have in Contentful. This is where we're going to actually handle it. So a couple other things that we need. We need GraphQL from Gatsby. We need the MDX renderer. Oh, not all caps. MDX renderer from Gatsby plugin MDX. And then that should be good for now. If we want to add a layout to it, I guess we could do that too. So in our components, it gives us this default layout. So let's go ahead and just add that as well. So this is the layout that's going to wrap every component that it's included in. So we'll do that from components/layout. We'll swap these divs out for layout. And now we need to query our data. So if we come back here, this query gives us all of our Contentful blogs, and you can see the slug here. But what we want now is a single Contentful blog. So we'll do Contentful blog where the slug is equal to never say never. And we're not going to hardcode this in the actual Gatsby app. We're going to use variables here in just a second. So we'll do never say never. And then we can grab the slug, the post. What is post? Oh, post, we need to grab the child MDX. And that is going to give us our front matter. Yeah, there we go. And so front matter again was this stuff up here, our title, slug, and date. So we can grab the title, the slug, and the date. And then outside of front matter, but still within child MDX, we want the body. And that should be good. So let's run this and see what we get. Okay, awesome. So our child MDX has front matter and then a body. This all looks crazy, but with this MDX renderer, we're going to be able to take all of this and actually render this content, which is pretty nice. So I am going to go ahead above my blog post here. I'm going to do export const data equals GraphQL and then give myself backticks. And then I'm going to grab all of this and I'm going to paste it in between and get rid of this my query thing. And then replace it where I'm going to be passing in the slug, which is going to be, we know it's coming in as a string and it's going to be required. And then instead of this slug equaling never say never, we want it to equal whatever the variable is, which is being passed down from our Gatsby node file. So pretty cool. Now what we can do is, before I save it and it auto formats on me, we can go down here and we can do MDX renderer, and we can we need to grab our data. So that's why we're exporting this, only to pull it in here, and then in our MDX renderer, we need data dot contentful. Actually, let's rename this to blog, and then so you, instead of typing out contentful blog, now I can just type out blog, and then dot post dot child MDX dot body. And so let's see if this actually built this out. All right, so nothing here yet, but if we go to that path / blogs / whatever the slug was, never say never / blogs / never say never. All right, looks like we're not there yet, so let's go ahead and restart the server. Still nothing yet, huh? Okay. So all contentful blog results.data / blogs / let's try changing this up so it's just / node.slug for now. And then restart the server again. All right, / never say never. Huh, nothing yet. Oh, I see. Because I didn't open this up with curly braces. So that, let's see. So I've got my, let me get rid of this. Okay, I don't need to get rid of it. So there's that closing, and now I can save it. Okay, so that was probably the issue. Now let's see, and I can actually do / blog / that again, just in case I want to make a blogs page to show all of my blogs, all of the individual posts on one page. So go back up here / blogs / never say never. All right, sweet. So there it is. And there we go. So it made our image. You can see it's formatted, and it's got my layout there, and everything's nice and neat. So that's all awesome. And already, just with MDX renderer, now I am able to write Markdown in a contentful like file here, and then just import it. Which is awesome. Anyway, so yeah, so this is structured fine, but The issue is if I come to Contentful and let's say that like I have these cool like buttons that I want to add at the end of the post that like link me back to, you know, like some like I'm like it's a some sort of shop or something like that, or I want to link people back to like a certain area of the page. I've got these call to action buttons or whatever. I can't just come in here and do like button and then hit publish and then restart this. There's not a way for Contentful to like automatically detect what button means. And so if we come back here, let's see if we refresh this, what we get. So you don't even actually get anything. But there is a way that you can actually include a component in Contentful just like this, and we'll be able to render it. So again, you know, if I've got like a link, I can make a link. That's fine. There are some different ways, you know, like you can embed external content, but then that requires what is it, embedly? Yep. Which is fine, but I ran into that issue and wanted to work around it. So I'm going to show you how to do a couple of things. So let's go ahead and in our components, let's go ahead and make a button.js. I'll do that R8FCE. And it is going to take in text and let's pass it in a link too. So let's format this to be an actual, we'll do import link from Gatsby. And then we can get rid of this so it's not a div, but it's a link instead. In the middle, we'll do our text. And then our link will lead us to whatever we pass down as the link. And then let's make one more component. We're going to make an embed.js. And I'll do RACFE. And this one is going to take in a code. And so for this, I'm going to do just in case there's anything that comes in that is maybe like not, it might be two different elements that like, you know, with React, you can't have adjacent elements that are not enclosed by a parent element. So just to make sure that that doesn't happen, I'm just going to wrap this in a fragment, and then I'll go ahead and save that. So now we've got these two components. And so what we can do is if we go to our layout, and remember our layout is also wrapping our blog post template. If we import MDX provider from at MDX JS/React, and then we import our components. So we'll do button from /button and embed from /embed. We should be good there. Then right above our layout, we'll do const short codes equals button and embed. And then we're just going to pass this in that MDX provider. So around our children, we'll do MDX provider, and the components are equal to whatever I put in that shortcodes variable up above. I'll grab this. And so now my button and embed, since they're in these shortcodes, they're passed into this MDX provider. So now I can use custom components. So if this was in a repo, I could have my MDX file and I could, I could import it at the top. And MDX is awesome for that purpose. If I'm just working in my own repo, then I could just import it. I could have my MDX similar to what it is now. My file would look exactly the same in my own repo, but I would have the ability to import a button or an embed or whatever my component is up here at the top. Since this Contentful has no idea what I'm referencing, if I'm going like, dot dot slash button or dot dot slash component slash button, whatever, it doesn't know where to reach. But now that I've wrapped my children with MDX provider, and because this layout is wrapped around my blog post, now what I can do is I can use those components. So if I go button, and let's see, my it was text equals, we'll just do home, and we'll do 2 equals quotes and then slash, and then we'll close that out. And then let's go ahead and let's do CrossFit Strive. So this is the gym. This was a demo page for it. And let's go to the bottom. So let's check out this map. So we can grab the embed. So let's copy that. And let's see if we can do our embed here. I haven't tried this, but let's see if this works. So let's go button there and then embed. And for our embed, we wanted just the code. So code equals, and I'll paste in that code. Let's check in here. You want to check for, especially for style, just to make sure. That's one thing that sometimes comes up, but it looks like it's not in there. So we've got our code, it's wrapped, and then we'll just close this off. And we'll publish this. So all I did was pass in that embed code as a prop into this code here. And then for my button, same thing, home and then slash. So let's shut this down and fire it back up. And let's see how this turned out. So if I refresh this page, there we go. At the bottom, we've got our home. This looks like it's our button if we inspect it. Let's take a look. So there's our main. There's an iframe. It looks like it maybe didn't pick up the button. Looks like there's, oh yeah, here we go. So it that's what it did. So that it's rendering as an anchor tag because I called it button. That was kind of dumb, but it's rendering a link. And so even though I called it button, you would probably want to have some styling. So I could even do this inline. I could do style equals, and let's do like background of dark blue and padding of, let's say, like 0.5 rem, 1 rem, and then color white. And now I'm just styling up that little button there. So there we go. So so yeah, you can take care of your styling. So notice on here, I have my embed code that I just passed in, and that's taking it in my custom component here. And then same thing, button. I'm just passing in text and link. And so now that that link works, even though I passed it in this Contentful MDX file, which is pretty freaking awesome. So I have run into, and I've used this embed a few other times, and there are some, like I know Twitter, for example, I found a package that like in this embed I maybe I make a twitter.js and there's a I think it's like React embed Twitter or something like that, um, where it's kind of Twitter specific. So you might run into some things like that, but again, being able to use components not only in MDX files but in your Contentful projects opens up a whole range of possibilities for cool new stuff that you can do. So I know that that ran a little longer than I was anticipating, but now you can see that not only is Contentful super powerful for getting images and text and making things easy for non-developers or just data management in general, but you can leverage it even more by using MDX and passing in custom components and using that MDX provider to pass in your components that you're writing and then style them up however you want. So, hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for sticking it out, and I'll see you in the next one.